If you could all rise for an invocation by Pastor Shane Sevy.
Bow our heads and pray. Jesus, we just thank you for this day, and Lord, we just pray that this meeting, that you would be glorified. Lord, I pray for our city council and our officials, that they would strive to be in your will. Lord, that you would lead them and guide them. Lord, and I lift up our city residents here, Lord, as they ask questions and concerned about the city, that you would lead and guide them. Put a hedge of protection around this meeting. Lord, we pray that your will would be done above all other things. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Turn and face the flag for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands
one
one
nation, under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Do the roll call of council members.
Lehman. Here. Podak.
Here.
Cassidy.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
Hall. Mendoza.
Here.
Lake.
Move to excuse Councilperson Hall.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mendoza, a second by Baker to excuse Councilperson Hall. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Podak.
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Councilperson Hall is excused.
Move to excuse Councilperson Lake.
Second.
We have a motion by Mendoza, a second by Lehman to excuse Councilperson Lake. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Cassidy.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Podak.
Yes.
Great. Councilperson Lake is excused. Moving to the minutes of the previous meeting. For a motion to approve those video minutes.
I move to approve the video minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Podak, a second by Cassidy to approve the video minutes of the last meeting. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Baker.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Podak.
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
The minutes have been approved. Do you have any communications?
I have none.
All right, under communications, we do have a couple officials from outside the city government that are here this evening, so we thought we'd let them communicate with us first. And first up is State Representative from the House District 88, Mr. Click.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I am going to ask Eric Keckler to join me up here, if you will. This is a surprise to him. He's like, "What's going on?" But when I first ran for my position, was elected to my position, I realized that there are 3 counties that cover Fostoria, and I said to Mayor Keckler at the time, I said, "That's got to be tough having 3 different state representatives," and he said, "It's actually better, because I got 3 people I can call on instead of just 1, and then also 3 senators." And so he's been a very good mayor during his term here in Fostoria. And so State Representative John Cross, State Representative Haraz Gambari, myself, and our speaker have prepared this commendation for you, Mayor Keckler. And I would like to read this for you if I can. I'm going to turn it this way. It says, on behalf of the members of the House of Representatives of the 135th General Assembly of Ohio, we are pleased to extend special recognition to Eric Keckler on your outstanding service as mayor of the city of Fostoria. You are truly deserving of high praise, for you have combined civic concern and dedication with selfless initiative to become a dynamic leader in the Fostoria area. During your 12-year tenure as mayor, you've ably fulfilled your myriad responsibilities and have demonstrated exceptional devotion to serving your community. A talented and hardworking individual, you've made many significant contributions to the city's growth and development. Election to public office is one of the highest honors the people in a democracy can bestow upon a fellow citizen, and you have clearly shown the potential of each person to have a positive effect on the quality of life in our society. We are proud to note that it is through the unsurpassed efforts and deep commitment of conscientious individuals such as you that the state of Ohio continues to prosper and remain responsive to the diverse needs of its residents. Thus, with sincere pleasure, we commend you on your exemplary service as mayor of the city of Fostoria and salute you as one of Ohio's finest public servants. I'd like to present that.
3. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity and thank you all for your service to your community. Reach out to me anytime I can be a blessing to any one of you.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank you.
The second government official that I have this evening is Sarah Betts from the Seneca County Parks District.
Thanks for having me here tonight. Excited to be here as the director of the Park District. So thrilled to be able to do something like this and impact the community. So the Seneca Parks are committed to the promise made in 2016 to continue the Community Park Grants Program, which helps provide safe, high-quality recreational locations across the county. So on behalf of the Seneca Parks Board of Park Commissioners, I'm extremely pleased to present this check in the amount of $11,525 for use toward the batting cage improvements at Foundation Park. So this is the sign that will be placed there, and who wants the check?
Mayor, get it.
And we already got our picture taken, so there you go.
Thank you. We will move into reports to committees, the Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee met this evening at 5:30 in council chambers. A very brief meeting. Finance Director was unable to attend. We did get an update, though, from the mayor on 2 pieces of legislation that came in late this evening. And we will cover those during the meeting portion. Other than that, that was pretty much all we did this evening, and our next meeting will be August 20th at 5:30.
Thank you. Public Affairs Committee.
There are a lot of events happening here in the next couple of weeks. First, the Urban Woody Brewery Summer Concert Series will have the Together Band performing this Saturday, July 20th, and Fluid State performing on Friday, July 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. both evenings. Next, SpongeBob the Musical, hosted by the Gary Family YMCA Theater Camp, will be at the Fostoria City Schools Wainwright Performing Arts Center this Saturday, July 20th at 5 p.m. and Sunday, July 21st at 2 p.m. Tickets can be purchased for $10 each at the Gary Family YMCA front desk. Lunch on the Lawn with entertainment by Brad Burkhart and food by Fatback Smokehouse Barbecue will be held Wednesday, July 24th from noon to 1 p.m. on the City Building lawn. Also, the Fostoria Heritage Day featuring St. Gwendolyn Festival will be Saturday, July 27th from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. and will include a car show and live music by Electric Circus, as well as food vendors, kids' activities, free museum tours, shopping, and more. The next Fostoria Community Arts Council and City Summer Concert featuring Night Jazz will be at Foundation Park on Sunday, July 28th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. There will be a showing of the Dillinger movie presented by the Fostoria Area Historical Society at the Ritz Theater in Tiffin on Saturday, August 2nd at 7 p.m. Tickets can be purchased for $5 at the Ritz box office. The Fostoria 5K and Play, a fundraiser for the City Park Inclusive Playground, will begin at 3 p.m. at the Lake Lumberjack starting line on Sunday, August 4th. And finally, Fostoria City Schools is hosting a Meet the New Superintendent event at Legacy Hall on Monday, August 5th from 4 to 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Lots going on. Law and Ordinance Committee.
The Law and Ordinance Committee was unable to conduct an official meeting this evening as planned due to Chair Lake's absence. We will meet again Tuesday, August 20th at 5:15 p.m. here in council chambers.
Thank you very much. Moving into the reports of officers, Mr. Mayor.
The week of July 28th, the CSX Railroad will be working on the crossings on Finley Street and North Adams Street. Those crossings may be closed for up to 48 hours. The Safe Routes to Schools grant from the state of Ohio will be funded in 2027. So don't expect that work to begin right away. It will take time for that money to come through. And if you have any questions on the then and now legislations, I can answer them when you get to that point.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director of Public Service and Safety.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the last meeting, we talked about trying to get you the list of the streets that will be on our repaving program this year. And so the bidder on that, successful bidder on that is 7L Construction out of Bellevue. They came in, I think, almost $20,000, give or take, under what the price that we had expected. So the streets that we're looking at right now, we still have to have our pre-construction meeting to hammer everything out, and that's on the 29th of this month. But they really want to get started. They like to get started in August to get these done. So the streets on our list for this year are Stinchcombe from 613 to HL Ford Drive, and HL Ford Drive from Stinchcombe to Wainwright, Wainwright from HL Ford to Park Avenue, and then Park Avenue from Wainwright to Vine Street. Then we had a couple places where we'd had some bigger water main breaks and water main issues, and so that brought in Fremont Street from Vine up to Lakeview Drive. There's quite a few spots there in that first piece. And then we'd also had some construction from some folks getting off of septic tanks onto the city sewer, and we had to build a sewer for them to get there. And that encompasses a piece of West Jackson from County Line Street to Berkshire, and then we just added Berkshire in because it was in pretty bad shape at this point. So keep in mind that most of these streets that we've talked about is we've aimed at looking at because we have the lead lines that we need to at some point take out, and we've identified most of those on the city side. We also have a project where we've been working on the last couple years identifying low pressure lines, and there's some sewer projects that we have, and also some Columbia Gas projects that we know they have over the next 5 years. So all of these choices were based on streets that we can pave and don't have to tear up again. And then I know we talked a little bit at the last meeting, but I'll remind you again that we are working with the EPA on the GLOW initiative, which is going to help us identify any lead lines we couldn't identify on the customer side of the shutoff. And so they're going to be working with us. So you'll be seeing some things soon where we'll get the word out about lead lines and you know why it's important that we're working on this project. And they will also work with us to help put together a comprehensive plan to eliminate the lead lines and do paving along with some of the low pressure lines. So that is something that is no cost to the city that they're working with us on. So that's quite a big project for us. So we'll keep you apprised on that as it moves forward. And then since we last talked, we've had 2 separate meetings with members of ODOT District 2 about the 2025 paving plan. They were in town. I think there probably close to maybe 10 members of ODOT District 2 that met with the mayor, myself, and several members of our crews where we talked about the scope of the work for 2025. And that is going to be the entirety of Lido Street now all the way to Columbus Avenue, pick up from mid-block to Columbus, and then out 23 South to the city limits. So then we met again with a smaller group. We walked Lido Street and the Columbus Avenue area looking at catch basins and ADA compliant ramps at crossings to identify those that needed to be replaced. And hopefully our crews will work to get some of those eliminated before the project starts. It'll certainly lower our cost of that. Right now, our estimated cost for our portion is roughly $850,000. That's an 80-20 urban paving program through the state of Ohio. And then we pick up any concrete pieces that need to be replaced in that project. So still moving along very well. Still looks like it's moving in a great direction for that project in 2025. And right now it's scheduled, and we'll see how it holds the schedule sometime late summer in 25. And then the last thing I had was previously we talked about the new ADA compliant entrance to the front of the building. Those bid packets are out and will be opened on August the 2nd. And we'll keep you up to date on that as that moves forward as well. So that's what I have for right now, barring any questions, but a lot of great projects this summer.
Thank you, Mr. Keckler. Director Vaughn?
Thank you. Just very briefly, I know our Director of Finance wanted our new business to be passed by emergency tonight. Unfortunately, we don't have enough members tonight, so we can't pass anything by emergency. So just a reminder on that. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Ms. Kaiser. We will move into the public portion of the meeting. We had 2 people request time, starting with Deb Tyson.
Deb Tyson, 800 Woodward Avenue, Lot 9. I wondered about the streets and the one-way, like Woodward and stuff, if they're going to start the one-way parking, because I have people taking me here and there, and they're like, can't get through. And I'm namely talking about NCAT, which we all know is SCAT. The buses are having a hard time getting through. If you go down is it Northview or Oakland? They've had to back up. They can't get through. They get stuck. So if that could be looked at, I am thinking that maybe people need to do something about the stop signs, because people are running stop signs. It's being a really bad habit. And some people are laughing about it. You know, it's summertime, people got their windows down. And it is a serious thing, because you get T-boned, you're probably going to the hospital. There's no way out of it. So, yeah, your car's totaled, but and I was sad to see that we didn't have the law and order one, but that's okay. It can go for another time. And the only other thing I have to say is I'm waiting for the food units to start coming more into town and be around. And I would like to see more local food units. I don't mind out of towners, and I welcome them, but we need to support our own.
Thank you.
That's it.
Joe Filiator.
Good evening, Jill Filiator, 402 West Culbertson Street. I first want to thank the city for making sure that I had the barricades and things needed for the event that occurred on the Friday. It was well attended, over 150 people. The Space Cats, which is a local group they work out of the Community Arts, Fostoria Community Arts second floor, performed. And it was a really good event in regards to bringing the community together. We utilized all the establishments that are able to serve for the DORA. We had a lot of DORA participants, but we also had a lot of food people that were able to get food and bring them back to that event. So it turned out to be very well. I do want to thank the community itself, because we were torn down. We had 110 chairs. We were torn down within less than a half an hour, because the citizens of Fostoria and the surrounding areas actually helped pack up and go. They enjoyed it. They asked when the next one is. So it turned out to be a very well-received event, and I do thank you. The reason I'm here today is I just want to talk about the council meeting where they were talking about the managerial form of government. I too am a proponent of managerial form of government, but I do have some concerns with how we go about doing it that I need to bring to attention so that maybe there can be a start discussion. When we tried this before, the biggest concern voiced by the citizens was that, well, then they have no say anymore, and it's going to be run by somebody who is going to live, in a different city altogether and not have a buy-in to the city. At that time, I made the suggestion that part of this process should include that within the first 90 to 6 months after a person becomes a manager, that they must be within a 30-mile radius of the city of Fostoria so that they can be more inclusive into the concept. That's usually what happens in a managerial form of government, that they do have them living closer proximity. It doesn't mean that we don't have a search. And during the search, we might find somebody who is a perfect candidate that is appointed by the council. And that person then can say, yes, I'm willing to move, but I don't want to live right in Fostoria. I want to live closer to Tiffin, Finley, and we should be accommodating to that as long as they're going to be representing us. The issue I have is that a managerial form of government, as most of you are aware, is a council-driven force. That means you have to take the responsibility focusing on the policies and making sure that we are doing the things properly. And that right now does concern me a little bit based on some of the things that have been going on recently. You only have a group of 7. There would be no veto power because there would not be a president of the council making those choices. You don't need to have a mayor either. A weak mayor can be put in, but it's not a requirement. It can be just a straight managerial form of government. Managerial form of government will help us with things of higher need. You need these people that have the education and the ability to deal with some of these EPA issues that we're dealing with, some of the financial issues that we're dealing with, making sure that we are following the regs and regulations, not interpreting them and maybe misinterpreting them and having other issues that come about. So it's a great conceptual idea. And I understand that when we tried this before as a conglomerate, it didn't work. And I made the suggestion, I just moved here, and I said, separate them out. And by separating them out, you were able to get the finance and the law approved. But the big catch was when we were talking about the mayor is that the buy-in is not there to say that they can live 40, 50, 60 minutes away and be part of the community. That is one of the big holdups. I think people will understand that, yes, we need that knowledge base and people need that knowledge base, but we can as the council. The problem is, as a council, if you're making all the policies and procedures and are the one that is making sure that we're doing everything properly, you have to be the voice of your constituents. It cannot be a sway vote. A sway vote will not work in a council form. You have to be willing to listen to your group in your ward and speak for that, even if you are the sole voice of, I'm not going to approve. You have to listen. And it doesn't have to be your own thought processes. You're representing the board. And that's where my concern is. You have to then be able to speak the speak, talk the talk, explain it. You all need to understand what it truly is to be a managerial form of government. And once you understand that, then you can answer the questions that are posed to you. Because at the last one, there were a lot of questions that different council members gave different answers to in regards to what a manager form of government was. Because I don't think, and I can only speak on what they were saying, that everyone that was on council at the time had a true understanding of what managerial form was. Because all I heard was from people was, oh, they're just going to have someone come in and we're not going to have a say anymore. But that's not the case. It's all about explaining it so people understand, making sure that you go with, if they don't understand, you get the questions back and know which way you're going to go. Are you going to go with a weak mayor concept? No mayor concept. You've got to make sure that you all know if this is how we're going to do, which way you want to do it, and then bring that education to the city citizens so that people can digest it, understand it, and then move forward with it. Because you are absolutely right. Government is a very difficult beast. when you're dealing with government things, you have to have the right person. Are there people in Fostoria that will make good mayors? It's obvious we have good mayors right here, but we're no guarantees. So you need to look at that fact and say, okay, what makes more sense? And I'm speaking not only to the council, but we're on video, and I'm also speaking to you as the citizens of Fostoria. Actively learn and listen to what a manual form of government really is. You might not agree with it. You might have questions with it, but open dialogue is the only way that we're going to be able to look at it. And if it's decided by the vote that they don't want to go that way, then that's fine. I know they've tried it before, but we've tried it before, but we haven't explained it well enough so that people understand it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Filliater. At this point, we'll open it up to the general public. If you'd like to speak, please come up, give us your name, your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Paul Allison, 118.5 West Center Street, Apartment 2. Just a reminder again about the Records Commission meeting that comes up on August the 15th. If you have any records that you need to be disposed of, you can bring them before the commission, and if they're appropriate, we will approve them and you can dispose of them. Again, the meeting of the Records Commission is August 15, 2024 at 2 p.m. in the conference room. If you have any questions, you may contact me. My email address is paulus, PAWLLIS, @yahoo.com. My phone number is 419-619-4177. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allison. Seeing no one else ready to jump up, we'll move into old business. Just a reminder, I know the law director already said this, but there are 3 pieces of old business that we can act on tonight. The rest of the old and new business will have readings, and we will talk about what that means when we get to miscellaneous business. So start with old business. Here we go.
A resolution establishing the job description for the position of Clerk of Council for the City of Fostoria, Ohio.
Move to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion by Lehman, a second by Mendoza to adopt. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Lehman,
Yes.
Hodak,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
That passes. It becomes ordinance number 2024-50. And the next one when you're ready.
An ordinance entitled and ordinance authorizing an advance to the airport grant fund with such advance to be repaid before year end 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion by Mendoza, a second by Podak to adopt. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Hodak,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Mendoza,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
That does pass. It is ordinance number 2024-51.
A resolution adopting a tentative tax budget commencing January 1st, 2025 pursuant to section 5705.28A2 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency to exist.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion by Cassidy, a second by Baker to adopt. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Baker,
Yes.
Mendoza,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Hodak,
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
All right, that becomes resolution number 2024-52. That is the last piece of business that we can act upon tonight, just so you know, but we do need to read the rest of them. So go ahead and keep going.
An ordinance amending section 541.05 of chapter 541 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fostoria, Ohio, all entitled criminal trespass relating to trespassing in condemned structures.
Right, that was the second reading of that ordinance.
An ordinance amending section 1305.99 of chapter 1305 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fostoria, Ohio, all entitled penalty relating to building code penalties.
That was the second reading of that ordinance.
An ordinance amending sections 1107.99, 1125.99, 1129.99, and 1133.99 of Part 2.
Of the-
I
Part
was just
11.
gonna say, thank you, okay, thank you for that. Part 11 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fostoria, Ohio, all entitled penalty relating to zoning and compliance penalties.
That was the second reading of that ordinance.
A resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Fostoria, Ohio to take all necessary steps to register the city with and become a member of Monarch City, USA.
That was the second reading of that resolution.
An ordinance amending Chapter 747 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fostoria, Ohio, entitled Medical Marijuana Dispensary to include recreational marijuana dispensaries and declaring an emergency to exist.
That is the second reading of that ordinance.
An ordinance amending section 1127.01C of chapter 1127 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fostoria, Ohio, entitled Use Table to include recreational marijuana dispensaries and declaring an emergency to exist.
That is the second reading of that ordinance.
An ordinance amending section 1106.01 of chapter 1106 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fostoria, Ohio, entitled Definitions to include recreational marijuana dispensaries and declaring an emergency to exist.
That is the second reading of that ordinance.
A resolution authorizing the honorary naming of the Fostoria Metropolitan Airport as the Donald P. Miller Airport.
That is the second reading of that resolution.
A resolution approving and ratifying the prior acts of the department heads and safety service director and approving then and now certificates for said expenditures and declaring an emergency.
That is the second reading of that resolution.
An ordinance adopting and amending ordinance number 2023-66, permanent 2024 appropriations by appropriating from unappropriated funds in the general fund and park and recreational fund and transferring funds from the general fund to the park and recreation fund and declaring an emergency.
That is the second reading of that ordinance.
An ordinance adopting an amendment to the financial recovery plan for the city of Fostoria, Ohio, and declaring an emergency to exist.
That was the second reading of that ordinance. That concludes old business. Before we move into new business, you were given a resolution on your desk for a piece of legislation that was not written in the printed agenda. So I think do we need a motion to put that onto the agenda? And then that would be put on the agenda now if you're so inclined to do so. That would be the one that's titled Resolution Adopting and Amending Ordinance Number 2023-66, Permanent 2024 Appropriations by Appropriating from Unappropriated Funds in the General Fund. That's the one that was indicated during the Finance Committee meeting and by, I believe, the mayor to talk about different dollar amounts and different accounts that things need to be straightened around. Mostly do with the airport, I think.
So moved.
Right. We have-
Second.
We have a motion by Mendoza, a second by Lehman to place this on the agenda. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Mendoza,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Kodak,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
All right, that is placed on the agenda. Normally, I would give you a few minutes to read it and look over it. But we'll just read it because it'll be the first reading and there's no action that can happen anyhow. So we can still have discussion if you want discussion at the end of that. Just pipe up and let us know.
I moved that to the third
It
one.
needs to be the first one.
Okay,
So that's the order it needs to
that's fine.
go in.
Ready?
Yep.
A resolution adopting and amending ordinance number 2023-66, permanent 2024 appropriations by appropriating from unappropriated funds in the general fund.
Right, that is the first reading of that resolution. Does anyone want to have any discussion on that this evening? Okay, we will move into the next one.
A resolution approving and ratifying the prior acts of the department heads and safety service director and approving then and now certificates for said expenditures and declaring an emergency.
That is the first reading of that resolution.
An ordinance adopting and amending ordinance number 2023-66, permanent 2024 appropriations by appropriating from unappropriated funds in the CHIP 2023 fund and declaring an emergency.
That is the first reading of that one. Does anyone have a need to go into executive session this evening? Well, we can't anyhow. We don't have quorum to go into executive session. Miscellaneous business. Does anyone else have miscellaneous business before I start with mine? Go ahead.
We have the 2 resolutions that still need to be read for the first reading.
Thank you. There's 2 other resolutions. Oh, you have the FEMA one?
I don't have any.
You don't have them?
Nope.
Are those on your agendas? The FEMA resolutions?
No.
I remember reading them.
Yeah, I remember reading them too, but
Mm-hmm.
no problem.
They've got a, no, that's the chip.
Right, and this is,
It was because they got to prepare a fund. Here it is.
It's 2 of them.
Yes.
So we need a motion to place those 2 on the agenda as well. They will be considered the 4th and 5th piece of new business.
Can we do that with one motion? Both of them?
Yes.
I move that we move both of those to the agenda, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Lehman, second by Cassidy to place both of those on the agenda as the 4th and 5th items of new business. Clerk, would you call the roll?
yeah,
Create the fund.
Lehman,
Yes.
Kodak,
yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Thank you. They have been placed on the agenda. We will now read them. Again, no action can be taken, but they will have had their first reading. So, yes.
You need to read into the proper order.
Okay, so you want to make sure.
The establishment of the grant.
Mhm.
Second one is the capital outlay.
You have that in that order?
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead and read them then.
An ordinance establishing the City of Fostoria's FEMA Grant Fund 261 and declaring an emergency to exist.
That is the first reading of that. Is it an ordinance or resolution?
It's an ordinance.
Ordinance. First reading of the ordinance. You want to do the last one?
An ordinance adopting and amending ordinance number 2023-66, permanent 2024 appropriations by decreasing appropriations and appropriating from unappropriated funds in the general fund and FEMA fund and declaring an emergency.
Okay, that'll be the first reading of that one. Any other miscellaneous business from anyone else before I get into mine? Alrighty, so I have a few things. First of all, I will not be here on the 6th, which is probably the least significant of all the things that we need to do here. And because Tom Lake has been absent, he is the pro temp. He will be sitting as president. However, if he happens to not be at the next meeting, we need an appointed or a nominated person amongst the 5 of you who would then act as the sitting president up here. So we're essentially hiring electing a pro temp for the pro temp, noting that I'm going to be absent that meeting. So if Tom Lake is here, no worries. If he's not here, we need one of you to be the acting president. So if one of you feels so inclined, or if you will, someone stick the dealer, I guess, and nominate someone.
Nominate Greg Cassidy.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
And will you accept that? Okay, so we have a nomination by Podak, a second by Baker to appoint Greg Cassidy as the pro temp for the pro temp. So you're essentially number 3 at this point, but you may have to sit up here on the 6th of August if Mr. Lake is not here. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Lehman,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Abstain.
Podak,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
You have been appointed, so congratulations. Secondly, probably more important is that we have a load of business on here that we have been unable to take care of because of absences. When we have more than 2 absences, we can't suspend 3 reading rules. We can't have executive sessions. Some of that's a good thing. This is me editorializing because then we get full readings. The citizens have a little bit more time. We have more time, but then there are some things that really need to be passed and done. We have some pretty important financial things on here. One of which I think was the check was supposed to be in the mail yesterday. That we haven't been able to suspend the 3 reading rule. That the intention was last meeting we were going to do that, if you were so inclined, but we didn't have the attendance. So we're going to need to have a special meeting, and pretty soon. I would think that Friday's probably, well, Thursday potentially could be the first day because we have to give the public 24 hours notice. Friday might be a little more reasonable other than it's Friday. And Monday would probably be the latest we should have a special meeting to clear up some of these issues. And a few of the concerns there is the clerk has to be able to turn the agenda around.
Yeah.
So I think Thursday's probably reasonable, but cutting it close.
Also, the review times requires 3 days for advertising. So I can't do anything about that.
Okay, so when's the earliest that,
They won't publish.
for the 24-hour notice?
For a public, for a public advertisement. Yes,
Right.
but I would need a date for printing it. They need 3 days from my contacting them.
That would be Saturday.
No.
It-
Would Wednesday, Thursday, Friday be those 3 days? So Monday.
So Monday would have, right.
So we're really, next Tuesday is the first date. There's no other 24-hour notification rule that we can, if we're putting it on social media or. So while we're thinking on that or getting some answers, the second thing is there are some pieces that if we wind up having an attendance issue at the special meeting, we will have to have a second special meeting to take care of some of this, because essentially everything that was a second reading tonight will be a third reading at the next meeting. So if there is attendance issues, though, as long as we have quorum, they can be enacted or acted upon however you guys see fit. But if it's something that still the new business tonight, the 5 pieces, none of that could be suspended if we don't have, and if some of those have to pass, like the then and now certificates and some of these appropriating from unappropriated funds, which usually have to be by the state auditor's office done that meeting, we'll have to have another special meeting to get that into a third reading.
So we need 6 people.
Yeah, we need 6 people to suspend rules. So I guess we're kind of in a bit of a caucus moment because she went to check on something. So we need an answer from her before we can plan. But if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves informally, I think that's appropriate at this time to try to figure out your schedules. And I can tell you that in the next week, I can be available in the evening for a meeting.
On Monday or Tuesday? I'm going to kind of make a list here.
Any day. I'm good any day in the next 10 days.
Okay.
So.
Amy,
Tuesday.
Be available whenever.
you can do,
Monday's good.
Monday or Tuesday.
you can do,
We're good.
you cannot?
I can.
You-
I'm good.
Okay, all right,
I can't do Tuesday.
okay.
I don't have a life, so we can do it anytime.
We're thankful for that, Craig.
Are we putting that on the record?
Monday's good.
Okay, so I can make either one work. I'll text Brady. Hopefully he can.
I can't remember what the school board's done to with the 24-hour notice, because they've not necessarily used local newspaper they have other ways to inform the public, and I'm not sure if we have that same avenue to
Right.
inform the public. We might not at this point,
At the school, we had to designate what our official
and that might be the
method
case.
was. I think that might be what she's checking.
Just off the record, the Review Times article for this meeting probably won't air until Thursday.
It's usually 2-day turnaround time. So that's what
So, but if you had that in your article,
I was gonna say it again, I'll say off the record first, just because I want to confirm, but I put in a lot of notices for other school board meetings, and typically they just go in kind of similar to a brief.
yeah.
So I would say, or encourage you guys to send over like a brief notice anyway, just like something that says, let it be known. I'll try and put it in for you guys, and if it works, great. I can't promise it will though.
Well, I think you could fax it over tonight, technically.
Right.
Yeah. Could you do that tonight once we decide? Just fax it over or send it over to them?
Yeah, I can do that.
Then it might,
Available on Monday.
is it possible for you to put that in the article, or is that inappropriate to ask?
I don't see why not. Yeah, I put other meeting notices in there. I'll ask and confirm and get back with you.
Okay. Okay. So there's potential that Friday could be a legitimate date once.
Cook salad on.
Okay,
Friday.
that's fine.
Sorry, I can do Thursday.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to do a Thursday meeting.
Brady, I texted him while we were sitting here, and he can be here on Monday.
Okay.
Bob's not available on Tuesday. That's why I was looking at Monday, and there would be all of us that are here tonight, and then Brady, which would put us, I didn't check with Tom because
Yeah.
it's kind of rather
Fine.
unpredictable what's going to happen.
We're looking at Monday, right?
So it sounds like we're good with Monday. We're just waiting for the law director to come back and let us
Verify,
know.
blessed, I guess.
But it sounds like we'd be okay if we got the notice sent tonight,
Do you have a fax
Monday
number?
even.
Can I get with you for a fax number afterwards?
What could probably be the email too, would be fine.
Oh,
Oh, I can do that. I can do that tonight. Okay.
It's a PDF file.
I got you.
So I think now that you've done all the research, I think we're probably gonna have a motion to do Monday, because that seems like the soonest that any of us can be. If we have quorum that's able to do more than just vote, we should be good. If not, we'll use the miscellaneous business portion of that meeting to talk about another special session. So does that work? And she's gonna notify the Review Times. If the reporter's allowed to, he's going to put that into his article, which would then be a notification to the public as well. If he's not, that's fine. We should still be good with the. Okay. So does someone want to make a motion to have the special session on Monday, the 22nd of July
6:00.
at 6:00?
I would move that we hold a special meeting on Monday, July 22nd at 6 PM in council chambers.
Second. All right, we have a motion by Lehman, second by Baker for a July 22nd, 6 PM special meeting. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Lehman,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Podak,
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
It looks like we're having a special session Monday, July 22nd at 6 PM. The clerk will notify the Review Times tonight. So we should be good with notice to the public. And at that meeting, everything that was in old business will be a third reading, and everything in new business will be in old business as a second reading. So, and you guys can do as you're inclined to do so at that meeting. And if any other miscellaneous? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second? Second. All right, we got a motion by Cassie, a second by Baker to adjourn. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Lehman,
Yes.
Podak,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned at 6:50 PM.